Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Matrix Element X, and these are my honest impressions. Alright, I want to thank Opus Audio for providing the Element X for review. Do greatly appreciate it. Opus Audio, you rock. Check out the links down below. I do have an affiliate link with Opus Audio, so if you want to support the channel in a very simple and easy way, if you purchase something from Opus Audio, use my affiliate link. Alright, so the Element X. If you're looking for a review about its streaming capabilities, about Bluetooth capabilities, and about all the other inputs that this thing does, you're looking at the wrong guy. This review is going to focus mostly on the DAC portion of the Element X and also as an amplifier. I did test it for its streaming capabilities and for Bluetooth and all the other inputs, and it works just fine. A little clunky to set up, but it all works. But if you're looking for an in-depth review of those portions of the Element X, I'm sorry, this review is not going to be talking about that. This is a review that's going to talk about the sound reproduction of the Element X as a DAC and how it works as an amplifier. All right, so the Element X has all kinds of functions. You get the dual balanced outputs, or they can be used as single-ended, and you can use either or. So if you're using it as a single-ended, you can plug it in either to this one or that one, and they just go right in. And then you have an XLR balanced output. Big, huge screen, which displays all kinds of information regarding what your input is, the bit rate, what the filter you're on, and all kinds of other things. This screen is really awesome. If you use Roon, it'll display all your artist information and song names. As far as the functionality of the buttons, they all work really well. Your volume knob also is multifunction, so you just click it to select. And you have a power button. Oh, by the way, it's got a high-res sticker, so it's got to be good. And if you care about it, it does do MQA, which is listed here on the top. On the back side, you have all kinds of inputs along with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all kinds of other things, which I'm not really going to go into too much detail. I plugged it in with USB, but you can do SD cards, you can do USB sticks, you can do Ethernet, you can do 2 coax, 2 fiber optics, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's craziness inputs for whatever you want to do. And then outputs are RCA, single-ended, and then your XLR balanced. By the way, this thing is heavy. It is heavy and it is massively large. Will take up a lot of desktop space. Now, all that aside, I love the build of it. I love the look of it and the functionality. Everything's just laid out properly and it just flows with all your inputs and your wires and your cables. And it just does what it's supposed to do in that regard. Also, connectivity is great. If you do set it up for Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Roon, anything of the sort, it just finds it and connects. Once you have it set up, it remembers everything. Also, the other nice thing is it remembers what your last volume level was for your headphone outputs or your XLR single-ended preamp outputs, whatever it is, it remembers what your last setting was. So that's a nice little touch. The Matrix Element X definitely is packed with features. And I didn't use every single one of the features. I did test as many as I could, but as I said earlier in the review, I am using this solely as a DAC and as a DAC amp. So how does it sound? The Element X is by far easily the best sounding DAC I have ever heard in my office. This thing is crazy. I can't think of another DAC that I have ever heard outside of some of the mega kilobuck ones I've heard at audio shows that sounds better than the Element X. This thing is fantastic. When you take the overall just presentation that it provides, it sounds realistic, natural, and accurate. There's a airiness to the presentation throughout, has good separation, and it has very good isolation of instruments and vocalists. Everything just sounds like it's supposed to be, and then it sounds lifelike within each little space. Everything is just spectacular. When it comes to the soundstage, it presents based on what I would think is the recording's setting. And it does a really good job of translating different venue sizes and different situations and scenarios. So like if something is small and intimate, it brings you into that small and intimate setting. If it's something massively huge and wide and just big and expansive, it puts you in that type of setting. The Element X is spectacular in its presentation, and it does a really good job in depth and layering. You can really diagnose a stage, and you can just break it down and just dissect each and every little seat in every row. I love that aspect of the Element X. Does a really good job with imaging and tracking and just being precise. If you can take a sound that comes from one side and moves to the other, and you can just follow it all the way through. One little sound, you can just track it wherever it moves on the stage. Even if there's other things going on, you can really hone in and just follow things across. I really, really do truly enjoy the soundstage, the imaging, depth, and layering of the Element X. As far as the overall tonality, that is even another step that I truly enjoy. Bass is powerful. It is authoritative, but is never domineering unless it's built into the mix to be that way. It has exceptional quality of details. It is just crazy how good this thing is at detail retrieval. And then resolution is just craziness. Everything is just defined and refined, and it just sounds lifelike. I mean, this thing is crazy good in the bass. Always controlled, it just doesn't add anything, but doesn't remove anything. Everything is as it should be, and I just love it. Mids are the same way, controlled, have good isolation and separation of instruments and vocalists, does a really good job with the depth and layering, and it's just lifelike. It puts you in this moment of just, it removes every aspect of I'm wearing headphones or I'm listening to speakers. This thing it's like I'm here. Instruments sound real, natural, and accurate. Moving into the treble's the same. Everything sounds lifelike. Everything sounds realistic. Nothing is boosted, overly boosted. Nothing is rolled off or rounded. It has the proper amounts of natural sibilance and harshness and crispness, the right amount of energy. Everything to me about the Element X is proper. This is the first DAC that I've had that has outshone my Mytek Liberty. Everything that I enjoy about the Element X, my Mytek does. The only problem is the Element X does it way better. It's like, I wish that the Element X was available in just DAC form. If the Element X removed all of the other aspects, the streaming and the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and all that, and it just gave me the DAC with the sound that it reproduces, I'd buy it immediately. I really would, especially if it was a little bit cheaper. Now going forward into the amplifier section. So if you take just the DAC and use it and you put it into something like the GSX Mini, or you put it on the One Linear, or my Tor Audio Roger, those amplifiers take the Matrix Element X to a totally different level. Those amplifiers, all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, this is craziness. I have not heard those amplifiers sound as good until they were connected to the Element X. The Element X makes everything else sound better. There is one thing that's not the most impressive about the Element X. Now, it's not bad and it's not terrible, but that's the headphone output. It's not the most powerful, And also at the same time, it's not the greatest amplifier. Now, it doesn't sound bad, but I prefer the Element X as a DAC. But the headphone outputs are usable and serviceable. Work good with IEMs and work with the majority of headphones I threw at it. It's just that when I used it as a DAC on the other amplifiers, it just sounded a little bit better. It just kind of enhanced the experience a little bit more. So if you're going to get the Element X, I would definitely use it more as a DAC than I would as a headphone amplifier. But if you're going to use it as an all-in-one and you don't want to have any other amplifiers attached to it, it works just great. Oh, and by the way, it works with my powered speakers. And it sounds amazing. This is by far the best that I've heard my MM5Rs sound. I'm just blown away by the Element X. This thing is fabulous. Now, price tag is craziness. This thing is loaded to the gills with features. This thing is loaded to the gills with high quality components. This thing is loaded to the gills in sonic quality. But that price tag, as I said, if you remove the headphone amplifier and you remove all the streaming capabilities and the Wi-Fi and all of that, I'd be purchasing one of these. I just don't use enough of the features that cause that price to go high. I love this thing. But now if Oppo says, hey Dave, you can keep this, I'd definitely keep it. I would not return it. And I don't want to return this thing. I love it so much. But I can't purchase it. It's got that price tag of things that I'm probably not going to use. But I do highly recommend the Element X if you are looking for an all-in-one streamer with all the features. If you're looking just for the DAC with this sound, I don't know if the price tag is worth it at $3,500 just for the DAC portion of the Element X. But this thing is special. And it has truly impressed me. Let me compare it really quickly to the Mytek Liberty and the Bifrost 2. The Mytek Liberty, as I said earlier, does everything that the Element X does. And it sounds very similar. The only problem is the Element X takes it to the next level. And it refines it and just does it slightly better. So if you've heard the Mytek Liberty, the Element X has a very similar sound signature with just a little bit more definition, a little bit more refinement. Bifrost 2. The Bifrost 2, on the other hand, is very warm and lush in comparison to the Element X. And it has a robustness and a big body type of sound. And it doesn't do details and resolution as well as the Element X. And also the soundstage sounds a little bit more immersive and engaging on the Bifrost 2, whereas the Element X sounds more accurate and true and realistic. This has been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Speaking of next time, somewhere on the screen is subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Check out the links down below, affiliate link to Oppos and all kinds of other things. There's links to tier lists and to a resource guide that describes terms that I use during a review and all kinds of other information down below. So check out those links down below. Also, don't forget to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile, and I'll catch you next time.